Farming over there, Jim.
Just necro stuff.
Ooh, necro stuff. Hey, what is up?
What's going on, guys?
You like that intro? Oh, sweet.
It's all right.
All right, it was all right. Like a 2 out of 10.
Yeah, B plus.
B plus. That's passing. I don't care who you are. All right, so Jim, back from Baited Gaming. Sorry for the minor hiatus. I had some personal stuff to attend to. So, like we completed the 3-star monsters that are relevant in our opinion. Now we're going to run it back with the 4-star monsters, starting with fire. Been having some fun with recording tonight, so hopefully this one will succeed. What do you think?
I think we're going to do this one okay.
We're going to do this one okay. We're setting the bar low. You know, okay is like here. We're always shooting for like amazing, the best, but we just want to hit here. That's all we want at this point. So we'll start them up with Shihua. I'm getting good at pronouncing these names now.
A lot of practice.
Shihua, really good for Necro and Dark Raid. First skill multi, third skill multi. And the second skill she won't use it against boss monsters, so it would be a wasted turn otherwise on Necro, so she won't use it. I will make the stipulation, if a monster is good on Necro, it's also good on the Dark Raid.
Yeah, just because of the multi-hit passives that both the Dark Raid boss and the Necro boss share. But the reason Shihua is so good is because of her attack leader skill for fire monsters. So it's 40%. And most attack or crit rate leader skills are going to be lower if they hit
30.
All elements. But this one is specifically for fire. So if you choose to use an all fire or mostly fire team, you're really going to see a lot of benefit from using Shihua as the leader. And the thing about fire monsters specifically is, for some reason, a lot of them have multi-hit skills built into their kit. And some of the best ones for Necro are going to be Shihua, Hua, Gibraltar, the Fire Cobalt Bomber,
Harpy,
Fire Elven Ranger, Colleen, Huahi, things like that. So like you could see, like it's not necessarily like you need to have these specific mons. It's just like fire mons in general. Also, Roke is used at really high levels because he hits really super hard, and he just has a chance to 6 or 7 hit the boss, and then all of a sudden all your other monsters are gonna hit him. So you can really do a lot of damage pretty quick with Shihua, but I will make the disclaimer that it's not the early side of things that you're going to be utilizing her and her leader skill. It's more so for once you've been farming Necro for a while, and then you're going to be making all the fire monsters on the team. The thing about Shihua, and again, this is also a disclaimer for Necro, all monsters are going to be Violent Revenge for Necro, just because you want to maximize the amount of turns and also skills that your monsters are using to deal with the passives of the boss.
As well, your early Necro teams, we'll talk about this in a Necro video, but this is relevant for how you're going to rune the monsters. You want them to be a little tanky, the first Necros team. So you want them to be like hit point crit damage attack, or attack crit damage hit point, or defense, or something like that. And then as you progress, when your rune quality gets really good, then you get everything on attack crit damage attack. The next monster we'll talk about is Beretta. If I can click him. I always want to talk about his stupid hair. It's a sweet ponytail, bro. Beretta is awesome for TOA.
Pretty much essential for TOA.
Yep.
Unless you're doing runs that are like super high level, that are like cleaving through. Beretta's the staple of TOA. He should be on every level that you do. Speed leader, and that's the obviously one of the better parts of his kit is not a lot of units bring speed leaders that are relevant everywhere. Beretta's is, so it's really good for TOA. And then obviously his second and third skill are what make him a TOA god. Third skill is, let's talk about the second skill. So Turbulence is an attack bar manipulation. It decreases the attack bar of the hit enemy to 0. And then, being that you cannot stun the bosses in TOA, it's one of the few ways that you can actually deal, a deal with the boss. You can set his attack bar to 0. You can provoke him. So Beretta is pretty much cream of the crop, as well as he helps you get through the trash mobs of the stages, because his third skill is an AoE that deals 2 continuous damage for 3 turns. So
essentially 30% of their health.
30% of their health, yeah, exactly. So what you want to do is you want to, obviously pair him with support type units, stunners, things like that. But, if you just dot through, eventually you're just going to hit the point where like they have like 10 dots on them and they're just going to die.
Yeah. And on Despair has the ability to stun.
Despair too.
Great monster. I also used them on a starter Dragons team where I was dotting out the towers. I don't suggest that. I think you do dragons or do giants until you get to the point when you can do a face team.
Yeah.
Because it's more. I think it's a better use of time and energy and resources to do giants, get it faster, and you don't want to do 4-minute dragons runs. That's not good. The next monster we'll talk about is Jojo. Jojo, real quick. Jojo's kind of like the poor man's Liebly. If you do not have another bomber, Jojo is the one you can get because he is fusible. Now, chances are you will have another bomber. But if you do not, and you just are so lucky you have Sierra and no other bomber, you could build Jojo. But you can tell there's a distinct difference in the attack. Jojo is 484, 646 for Liebly, plus no... Well, it's not relevant there. No type problems for third skill. It's pretty much all for JoJo. Standard bomber build, speed attack, or attack with a bunch of accuracy and attack.
Yep.
The next monster so the next 3 monsters are all 2 are very relevant for progression, and 1 used to be absolutely insane. Verd. There's so much to say about Verd. If you open him, it pretty much streamlines you to a fast speed dragons team. I think that's the way I'll put it.
Yep. Vertihill's main use is going to be in dragons. Obviously, he is the best attack bar booster for runs like that. He's not the fastest, but he's the best. His passive, it increases the attack bar of all your allies by 20% every time he deals damage.
Every time he crits.
Every time he crits. Yeah, sorry, excuse me. Every time he crits. So the most important part of Vertihill's kit is you want to absolutely guarantee that he's going to crit by having 100% crit on his kit. So you want to put a crit rate rune in the 4 slot just to guarantee. Obviously, once you get later in the game, you can maybe get to 100 out of your subs if that's possible. But most of the time, early stages for Vertihill, you're going to want to start him on Swift and then progress to Violent. But then your substat of rune should always be Revenge, because his passive can also trigger on a Revenge proc. So if he hits, he gets hit, then he attacks again off of a Revenge proc, all of a sudden your attack bar's gone up by like 40 to 60% just in one sequence with Vertihill. So he just makes all of the other monsters that you use better.
Yep. Speed, crit rate, and then depending on where you are in the game, if you're a little earlier, then hit point or defense, and if you're trying to do speed runs, all-in runs, then attack, and you want to try to get him a bunch of attack and crit damage at that point. I use him in TOA sometimes, because realistically, TOA is a lot about just getting a lot more turns than them. And then I've seen him used in real-time arena. You build him a little tanky, because the turn advantage he brings is just insane. And the other thing I want to talk about with Vertihill real quick, I know everybody always says you want a speed tune, so he's the one that goes last. That makes sense if you're doing like the all-in run. If your team is the Vertihill, Galleon, Tark, and like Stello or another Tark or Yaku. In that instance, you want him to go last because you want Galleon to go, then the other 3 monsters to go, and then Vertihill goes, and then everybody gets to go again pretty much. But if you're just doing what I call fast speed run, or sorry, safe fast run, you just want him as fast as possible, because some of your other monsters might not be as fast. Like my Sig is really slow, but with Verd, Sig just gets to go over and over again. For me, Verd's like cheat codes.
He bridges the gap when you don't have the rune quality that would be needed in order to do like a proper all-in face comp. Like, a lot of people use him as like one of the first monsters on their team for dragons, their first face comp, which is where, like I'm at in the game. I run a face comp with Galleon and Verd, but mine's nowhere near fast enough to, warrant using double Tarks, because I just don't have the rune quality to get the damage output. But having Vertiheal on a slower and again, a slower version of the same comp makes it easier because he's giving my monsters basically 20 to 40% speed increase to their rune set each time that he goes.
And that's pretty much it for Verd. Verd is just so useful, and if you open him, will help you in progression so much. Next monster, Chloe. Chloe, the thing I always say is I remember when I first started, everybody was talking about Chloe. Like, Chloe's so good, blah, blah, blah. And unfortunately, Chloe's still good, but I think that's about it. You PvP monster, strictly. Only PvP. You build her swift as fast as possible so you can get that first turn, give yourself immunity, and then hopefully kill them on the swing back.
Yep.
She is still useful on offense, and those teams where it's like you have 2 slow Lucians or something, and you bring Megan, Chloe, and 2 slow Lucians that hit hard, because then you'll Megan, Chloe, and then all their monsters will go, and then your Lucians will kill them because they can't do anything with Chloe's buffs on them. Other thing I'll say about Chloe, please don't bring her in raid. All she does is make that big wormy guy way more pissed off. Because you would think, oh, bring him in raid, can't take damage, no, can't get stunned. He's just gonna remove them and get more pissed off and then punch me in the face, and I hate that. Next monster, very important one, Hua, which is in apparently half the monsters' names. Hua, along with Verd, to me are the 2 most important 4-stars for progression. If you open either one of them, they will help you a lot. Hua can be used pretty much anywhere. The build on Hua is pretty standard. Swift, speed, as much speed as you possibly can get. There's many ways to go about it. If you want her to do more damage, speed, crit damage, attack. If you want her to survive a little more, speed, maybe with hit point attack, or I don't know. Mine's build speed, crit damage, attack. Is yours that way too?
Speed, crit damage, attack.
Okay, and she just got a buff because it was really needed. She wasn't good enough at that point. Her second skill now does increased damage based on speed. So speed is obviously most important. She's used in raid, the raid 5 R5. She's used in Necro. She can be used in PvP. I use her on my Dragons team.
TOA.
Giants team. Sorry, she can be used in the TOA. She's pretty much used everywhere.
Yep. Guild Wars, she's also fine in Guild Wars offense.
Just this ability to make their decrease their attack bar every time she attacks, and then she can just sometimes do it again. It's just sometimes they just don't get to play, which is sweet. One of the best, probably 2 or 3 damage dealers for R5, Hua or Xiaolin. I think they're the 2 best. So if you have her, get her, skill her up. You're going to be using her a lot. Anything else to add about Hua?
I mean, not really. Like, Hua is one of those monsters that, like, on first glance, it looks like, she has a very basic kit. It's pretty forward on what she does, like, self-explanatory. But once you utilize her and really give her great runes, you're going to see just how much she is
one of those
good.
Monsters that I think you focus she has one of my best rune sets on her.
Yep. Also, same.
Yes. Next monster we'll talk about is Jun. Which one?
I think it's June.
I think it's June. They just forgot the E. Silent, invisible E. One thing I wrote about the samurais is they're all meh.
They're okay.
I'm talking wind, water, and
and the light and dark ones are very
light and dark ones very good. That's the thing. If you're like, I have no fire damage dealer, but I have Jun. Okay, well, build Jun. He's probably okay because he has the 3rd skill AoE and then his ultimate ability. He hit R. He went nuts. And those 2 are AoEs. His base stats are okay. Plus, he does look pretty badass. He's got that long flowing hair that Jim's super envious of.
Yeah.
Jim, do you think you would look good with long flowing red hair like that?
I'm growing it out right now.
Ooh, I like that. I think that'll look good. So yeah, they're all kind of meh. But standard damage dealer build, either speed, crit damage, attack, crit damage, attack, rage, swift, violent, fatal, whatever. It doesn't really matter. Well, it does matter, but whatever you have, they can give them the best available stats if you need a fire damage dealer. Next monster we'll talk about is Mr. Draco. Draco.
Yeah.
I'm not good at these names. Come to us. Can you just make the names like Steve and John and Bill? Like, make it easier for me.
I mean, there's already like a Chris.
Ooh. All right. I'll have to just only use that monster apparently. I only brought up Draco because of his kit is really interesting. I think the monster is good for PvP. The AoE defense break that always lands as a crushing hit, and the attack bar increase and immunity for 2 turns. I think 2 turns is something you don't see very often. I'm trying to think what else is 2 turns. Chloe is 2 turns, I think.
Her immunity is 2 turns.
Her
the
immunity
invincibility
is
is 1.
Okay, so but the additional 30% attack bar is very relevant.
Yeah, I mean, in the 4-star slot, like, obviously there's a 5-star unit that does pretty much the same exact thing. Veligul does 3-turn immunity, and then the attack bar boost by 30%. So, there is...
One day I'll...
there's obviously, relevant 5 stars that does what this one does, but for a 4-star unit, he's actually quite good. Not a lot of monsters give immunity.
He does a little... I mean, he's a little different than Veligul in the fact that he brings that AoE... defense break. Plus, if he's on violent, like all the brownies, the violent, sometimes you just go nuts because 30% plus the violence. It's not plus, it's not additive or whatever. It's not additive, but it 2 different checks.
Stack.
It gives you 2 different checks, so you get to roll twice to try to go again. So could just go nuts.
Yep.
PvP, and you could try to use him in dragons. The 2-turn immunity is actually not bad.
Yep.
Next monster we'll talk about, Huaki. Very awesome monster. The problem I have with her is she requires skill ups, and she's not the first Sky Dancer you're going to give skill ups to. And I think that's something that some of these 4 stars, like with the 3 stars, it's not as relevant because you just get a bunch of them. But with the 4 stars, you don't want to. You will sometimes, but you don't want to put Devilmon into them. And if they're like the 2nd or the 3rd one, that's relevant to build because Miang is also good.
Well, I mean, all
skill ups are hard.
Unfortunately speaking, this Sky Dancer class is quite good. Like, if you're looking at in terms of like where Devilmon or skill up priority would be, like obviously it just depends on what you open. Like the light and dark versions of the Sky Dancers are nat 5s, so their skill ups are going to be even more warranted for what they do. Now, in terms of the regular attributes, wind, water, fire, Chisun is the early game one. Miang is the middle game one because she's the best. She's one of the best grade 5 cleansers because it's an attack based unit that also cleanses. So she does like a heal, a cleanse, and she's doing damage. So she just fills a lot of roles. Whereas Huaki, she's a damage dealer. She's a Necromon. She's also good in Dark Rift Raid. She's good in the Wind Rift Raid. But like I said, there's not a lot of progression type things that she's going to fill the gap for, especially like when Chisun and Miang are going to do progression based advancement through the game. So she is going to, in terms of Sky Dancers, she's going to take the last bit of them for skill ups, so she kind of gets left.
Yeah, I mean, if you don't ever open Chisun, then she could, if you just open like 17 of Huahi.
Yeah.
I'll disagree a little bit in the fact that I think all 3 of them are all relevant late game. Chisun, pretty much everywhere. So Huahi, I think they're all relevant late game.
Oh no, I didn't mean that Chisun and Miang weren't relevant late game. I meant that where in the game you're going to be focused on them. Like Chisun early because she's the best healer, Miang middle game because you're doing R5 towards the middle game, and then late game you're trying to make the best out of the monsters that you have. And Huahi she's one of the best wind, one of the best fire units for the Wind Rift Beast. And if you need to farm that dungeon, then you're going to be doing everything you can to make her better because she's the best one for it. And
for Wind Raid, the reason she's so good is because I believe she's what you call a stupid healer, which means she's always going to heal when that the second ability is on off cooldown. She's always going to use it because it gives the attack bar buff. It's the same ability as Chisun, but the big difference is you're building this monster with a bunch of attacks, so this heal could just heal everybody. And Wind is for the Wind Raid. You want to get everybody to max hit points. So plus she brings some damage. Plus they're super fancy. I really love the way that the Sky Dancers look. That's relevant to gameplay, obviously.
Yep.
So relevant to gameplay. The next monster we're going to talk about Platy for about 12 seconds. She's a reviver. She's outclassed.
And that's it.
There you go. The only reason I bring her up is if you absolutely need a reviver, she brings that. Next monster, a star. We talked about fire damage dealers, like having issues finding fire damage dealers. A star is a fire damage dealer gets more damage if they have more HP than you, which if it's a boss, often it will be. AoE, so good in the fire raid, as well as first and second skill both do multi-hits, so decent in necro. Plus, eventually you're going to have to use those skill ups, because I know you got like 47 Magic Knights just waiting.
Yeah, there is a cap on how much space you have in your storage, yeah. So like once you hit 500 Magic Knights, you just like, I need to build one of these.
No, it's 600 now. You got 600
it's 600 now, yeah, that's right.
So, but I've seen her used often. I've seen damage test by her, because the second ability silences, so she's good in situational PvP uses as well.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it on a star. Trevor, my man. Just he looks very angry. I don't know. He's swinging that knife. I don't like that. He needs to calm down. Trevor's an awesome monster. Not one of the monsters I would work on early game, because the thing is he needs vampire. Yep. Now, if you buy like the rune pack that's vampire,
oh yeah, that could work.
I think that could work, because the thing about him is he could be a farmer. He could do with decent, or probably even with garbage vampire runes. He could do Chiruka. Because of as he gets lower, he takes less damage and does more damage, so he just keeps healing himself.
Yeah, that passive makes him really the quintessential vampire-based unit. He benefits from going down, he hits harder, then he goes back up because he's healing for more, as he's just built to be on a vampire. And again, like you said, he could farm Chiruka, it's fine, he could do that. He's a little slow because he's single target.
Whoa. Don't make fun of him, he's not a little slow.
He's a little slow.
I was gonna make the joke. He gives himself attack power and the crit rate. He is a strong, independent man and does not need no woman.
Yeah, but I would say pretty much early game you want to shy away from Trevor just because his rune requirements are high. Late game you want to build him for specific purposes. If you want him to be your farmer for Chiruka, then fine, that's great. Also, he can be used in the Elemental Rift dungeons, again, for the wind. He's a fire-based damage dealer that also has a built-in heal.
Light.
And he's good in light because he will hit very, very hard. Yeah. Not so much the dark one, even though he does hit twice. Yeah. I think he hits twice with the first skill. He hits twice with the first skill,
but he's probably better on light, because light is you want to have the
single. But he's definitely a good front rower for wind.
You build him vampire, obviously, revenge if possible, but you want him to have a little bit of beef to him. So either like hit point crit damage attack, or attack crit damage hit point, or defense, something like that.
Yeah, hit point in the 2 or 6 slot, and then attack on the other.
Or you could build him attack crit damage attack if you just have a bunch of hit point defense ups.
Yeah.
You just want him to be able to survive a few hits. He's good for PvP in instances where like say they have a water monster, it's definitely going to attack him. He gets him low, and then he just kills another monster and heals himself to full. Mm-hmm. Awesome monster. The next one we'll talk about is Lisa. R5 cleanser. That's pretty much all I need to talk about. Back row, if you can build her tanky enough. Front row, but you want her over 200 speed on violent with at least 50 or 60 resistance. I think that's pretty much all we need to talk about with Lisa.
That's about it.
I think she's cool. The problem I have is she needs skill ups, and if you don't have the skill ups, you don't really want to devil mon her. I just, like, for instance, I use Ravidi, he uses Annabelle. She's good, but the team is very specific, because sometimes she just brings like Colleen, Chasun, and Panda, and you're like, all right, well, we brought 0 damage to that equation. Still a very good monster, still used by a lot of players. And the last one we'll talk about is Doge, or Mr. Doge. The Nasus. This is Nasus.
The red Nasus.
The Fueg Nasus. Kamoon. It was funny, I was telling Jim a little earlier in the third take of this that when I saw this monster come out, I was like, wow, this monster's really cool. I'm going to build this monster. And then it becomes a staple of Guild War defense, so I'm just late to the party instead of being the first one that thought of it. In Guild War defense, the quintessential team,
yep,
the Kamoon leader because of the speed, 24% speed in guild battles. That's insane. So it's Kamoon, Theomars, Chasun, and it's stupid, and we all hate it. It's very boring. It's hard to deal with. Violent, speed, hit point.
Yep. Pretty much it.
Yeah, you're gonna see him a lot in Guild War defense because of it brings the every turn just 20% of his hit point to whoever has the lowest ratio, and then the second ability is like a vampire effect. So I hate this monster so much, and it's funny because I saw him and I thought he was awesome.
Yeah, definitely Violent Will. For Guild War purposes, because there's still an opportunity for him to just get one shot by certain water units in the game, like like the Theomars of the world, like the
Tower.
Yeah, like every time I do Guild Wars, I try to bring Teor, and every time they have Will, it doesn't go well because then their Theomars kills my Teor and the game's over. So,
so that's the fire units. We'll bring wind and water coming soon. Do join our Discord. We're gonna put it in the comment section. We have a Discord where I'm logged. What? Get out of here with that. That's I'm making it rain on the Discord.
Yeah.
I'll put the link in there. I'll be in there often. We can come in. You can chat. We can talk Summoners War because we love talking Summoners War. If you do like the video, as per standard, like, comment, subscribe. We are going to try to stream more often on. Did we decide? Was it Sundays?
Yeah, I'm pretty much going to be doing a Summoners War base stream every Sunday, and then again, like I said, once we do get more videos up, we hope that you guys will be consistent viewers because it has been a good time.
Hang out with us. Come hang out with us.
I have no friends. Do you see what I have to deal with?
What? That's messed up. Literally right here in front of you. So messed up. Oh well. So that's it for us for now. Once again, I'm Jesse from Baited Gaming,
and I am Jim.
And apparently,
we're not friends.
We're not friends, and I'm hitting puberty right now.
Whoa.
Yeah, in my 30s, I figured I'd get there. Nice. So, all right, stay tuned for the next video.